संसूचित भूरि अनुग्रहम् ईक्षे च चिन्तामयमेनमीश्वरम् ईक्षे च चिन्तामयमेनमीश्वरम् धारणयावतिष्ठते यावन्मनोधारणयावतिष्ठते Adhina, very magnanimous, Leela, pastimes, Hasita, smiling, Ikshana, by glancing over, Lasat, glowing, Grubhanga, signals of the eyebrow, Samsuchita, indicated, Bhuri, extensive, Anugraham, benediction, Iksheta, one must concentrate on, Chintamayam, transcendental, Enam, this particular, Ishwaram, the Supreme Lord, Yavat, as long as, Manaha, the mind, Dharanaya, by meditation, Avatishthate, can be fixed. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. The Lord's magnanimous pastimes and the glowing glances of His smiling face are all indications of His extensive benedictions. One must therefore concentrate on this transcendental form of the Lord as long as the mind can be fixed on Him by meditation. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 12.5, it is said that the impersonalist undergoes a series of difficult programs on account of his impersonal meditation. But the devotee, due to the Lord's personal service, progresses very easily. Impersonal meditation is therefore a source of suffering for the impersonalist. Here, the devotee has an advantage over the impersonalist philosopher. The impersonalist is doubtful about the personal feature of the Lord, and therefore he always tries to meditate upon something which is not objective. For this reason, there is an authentic statement in the Bhagavatam regarding the positive concentration of the mind on the factual form of the Lord. The process of meditation recommended herein is Bhakti Yoga, or the process of devotional service after one is liberated from the material conditions. Jnana Yoga is the process of liberation from material conditions. After one is liberated from the conditions of material existence, that is when one is nivritta, as previously stated herein, or when one is freed from all material necessities, one becomes qualified to discharge the process of Bhakti Yoga. Therefore, Bhakti Yoga includes Jnana Yoga, Or in other words, the process of pure devotional service simultaneously serves the purpose of Jnana Yoga, liberation from material conditions, is automatically achieved by the gradual development of pure devotional service. These effects of Bhakti Yoga are called Anartha Nivritti. Things which are artificially acquired gradually disappear along with the progress of Bhakti Yoga. Meditation on the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, the first processional step, must show its effect by Anartha Nivritti, the grossest type of anartha which binds the conditioned soul in the material existence is sex desire, and this sex desire gradually develops in the union of male and female. When the male When the male and female are united, the sex desire is further aggravated by the accumulation of buildings, children, friends, relatives, and wealth. When all these are acquired, the conditional soul becomes overwhelmed by such entanglements, and the false sense of egoism or the sense of myself and mine becomes prominent, and the sex desire expands to various political, social, altruistic, philanthropic, and many other unwanted engagements, resembling the foam of the sea waves, which becomes very prominent at one time and at the next moment vanishes as quickly as a cloud in the sky. The conditioned soul is encircled by such products as well as a person feels his hunger satisfied after eating each morsel of foodstuff, he must similarly be able to see the degree to which he has been freed from sex desire. The sex desire is diminished along with its various forms of processes, along with its various forms by the process of Bhakti Yoga, because Bhakti Yoga automatically, by the grace of the Lord, effectively results in knowledge and renunciation, even if the devotee is not materially very well educated. Knowledge means knowing things as they are, and if by deliberation it is found that there are things which are at all unnecessary, naturally the person has acquired knowledge, leaves aside such unwanted things. When the conditioned soul finds by culture of knowledge that material necessities are unwanted things, he becomes detached from such unwanted things. This stage of knowledge is called Vairagya, or detachment from unwanted things. We have previously discussed that the transcendentalist is required to be self-sufficient and should not beg from rich blind persons to fulfill the bare necessities of life. Sukadeva Goswami has suggested some alternatives for bare necessities of life, namely the problem of eating, sleeping, shelter, but he has not suggested any alternative for sex satisfaction. One who has sex desires still with him should not at all try to accept renounced order of life. For one who has not attained this stage, there is no question of renounced order of life. So by the gradual process and devotional service under the guise of proper spiritual master, the following principles of Bhagavatam, one must be able to at least control the gross sex desire before one accepts renounced order of life. I'll stop here. There's one more page of purport. We'll read it a little later. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Yakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Please repeat after me. The Lord's magnanimous pastimes and the glowing glancing of His smiling face are all indications of His extensive benedictions. One must therefore concentrate on this transcendental form of the Lord as long as the mind can be fixed on Him by meditation. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya, Jai Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra, Jai Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat krupatamaham vande Shri Gurum Deenatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. Sorry I was a little late. So in this verse it is said that one has to be fixed, our mind has to be fixed on the Lord's magnanimous pastimes and the glowing glances of His smiling face. Magnanimous pastimes of the Lord, glowing glances, and in fact it is mentioned that the glances of the Supreme Lord are an indication of His benevolent, extensive benedictions. Benediction means blessing. Blessing. How the Lord, extensive means generous, very widespread blessings. Actually the first word is also the magnanimous. It says magnanimous means very large-hearted, adina, very large-hearted. That means typically we can say if you are going to the Lord to ask for some money, maybe He'll give 10 times more, like that. That's the meaning of magnanimous. He will give much more than what you ask for. He is very magnanimous. That's when we say that person is very magnanimous. You ask for something, he gives you much more. But our experience in the material world is always the opposite. We work hard and people, when they give salary, they think that they're doing some charity or something. When they give us a salary or whatever, they think as if they're doing big charity and all those things. That's our experience in the material world. Material world people are miserly, generally speaking, very small-hearted, because they are worried. They'll think that, anyway, the mood of the material world is one of wanting to exploit as much as possible, as often as possible. They want to exploit the living. So in the material world, it is the principle that exists is exploitation. But in the spiritual world, the principle is rewarding, magnanimous, very generous. Actually, it's said that every day when Krishna and Arjuna and Pandavas would get onto the chariot to go to the Kurukshetra battle, before they went onto the chariot, they worshipped cow, they called the Brahmanas, they worshipped the Brahmanas, they gave charity, took blessings and then went. So, giving is the nature of the Lord. Taking and exploiting is the nature of the human being. in this material world. Exactly the opposite nature Krishna has. Krishna is giving. Krishna loves to give. So every day they used to do some charity before getting into the chariot and drive off for the battle in Kurukshetra. So, in fact, Krishna says in one place that all the wealth that I have, all the opulences and wealth that I have is not actually mine, it is yours. And I am holding it on your behalf as a trustee. That means on your behalf I am holding it, that's all. But it's actually us. It belongs to all of us, including you. So the Lord has that kind of a mood. Because we have to understand that we are part and parcel of Krishna. So we are actually parts, amsha of Krishna. Just as the finger is part of my body, similarly the soul is a part of Krishna. So Krishna feels that they are mine. They are all mine. They are not paraya, which means they are not outsiders. They are actually mine. So whatever I have is meant for them also. But somehow when we come into the material world, we develop a completely different mentality. We think that everything that belongs to everybody else is mine, but what belongs to me is mine only. Nothing can belong to anybody else. Somehow we have this kind of a mentality. Nothing good should belong to anybody. It should actually come to me. I should possess. I should be the enjoyer. Others, no. Like that. And everybody should serve me. Everybody should glorify me. Always. So that is what happens in the material world. Somehow we flip. When we come into the material world, we flip means we become opposite of what our real nature is. So here it is said that one has to fix our mind on recollecting, or shall we say narrating, or meditating on the pastimes of the Lord, like it is mentioned here, magnanimous pastimes and glowing glances, and one must therefore concentrate on the transcendental form of the Lord as long as it is possible by meditation. Now why we have to focus on the Lord? Because actually Lord is in that sense, the Lord is very special, very unique, in the sense that even meditating on the Lord, pastimes of the Lord, instructions of Krishna can be very purifying. Apavitro pavitrova sarvavastham gato piva yatsmaret pundarikaksham sabhahyabhyantara suchihi. So we may go to the Ganga river, take bath and come. Yeah, it purifies us, our sins are gone. But when we are in the presence of a Vaishnava, a place that is made holy by the presence of a Vaishnava, not only our sins are gone, Prabhupada clearly explains when we start doing bhakti, even the tendency to do sin is gone. That type of tendency to do sin is called bija and kutam. That means it is still in the form of a seed in our heart. Prabhupada says you may have seeds in your heart. Nectar of Devotion actually says that. But if these seeds are fried in fire, even if you throw these seeds, they don't germinate. So you may have sinful desire, sinful thought, but devotional service is so purifying that these sinful desires don't germinate. They do not grow. This is the secret when we are doing some devotional service. So bija means seed form also will be eradicated. Of course, it is said that among all the karmas, the prarabdha karma is the most difficult to eradicate, because that is what we are presently undergoing, prarabdha karma. But there is a stockpile of aprarabdha karma. That means it has not yet come, but it is going to come soon. It is going to come. Prarabdha karma means the share of your karma for this lifetime. Do you understand? Whatever you are destined to undergo, your karma you are undergoing for this lifetime is called prarabdha. It also means falonmukha. The word used is falonmukha, means that karma that you are presently experiencing. For example, you have a particular type of body, you're given a body by law of karma, You're born in a particular country, you're born in a body, you're born in a particular family, you're born in a particular, at a particular time, in a particular place, in a specific place, as unique type of body. These things can't be changed so easily. Can you change your parents? You can't change your parents. Once you're born, it's done. They are your parents. So that type of prarabdha karma is a little difficult to change. Aprarabdha is whatever which has not yet come to you, which is still held in that locker box, karma locker box. All the actions that you do get loaded into a karma locker box. Actually, the sum total of all the karma that you are supposed to experience is called sancheti karma. Sancheti is the sum total of all the karma that you are supposed to experience. This life, next life, next life. As long as you are there, as long as you are performing some action, it goes into. But out of that sancheti karma, a certain portion is removed and given to you in this lifetime, and that karma is called prarabdha. What you are supposed to experience in this lifetime from the sancheti, what shall we say, safe box or karma box. The karma box, you are given some quota to be experienced in this lifetime. That is called prarabdha. Prarabdha means, also technically means that you are presently experiencing. That very difficult to change. According to the scriptures, that's not easy, because in this lifetime you're already born, you have your particular type of body, you're born to certain parents, you're born in a particular country, time, etc. All these things are not so easy. They just can't be changed. You certainly can't change your parents. It's not that, it doesn't work like that. Karma doesn't work like that. You're fixed, that's it. Prarabdha karma you have to experience. But when we become devotees of the Lord, even to some degree, prarabdha karma is modified. May not be changed completely, but it's modified. Maybe the sinful reactions are reduced. See, that is ultimately karmani ninirdhati cha kintu cha bhakti bhajam. Krishna can reduce karma, remove karma, change karma, modify karma. Everything Krishna can do. But that is up to Krishna whenever he is satisfied by the devotional service that we do. So here it is said that one of the devotional service we can do is what is being spoken about here is smaranam, dhyana, meditating on Krishna, the qualities, pastimes, and maybe you could even share them with others. So what is expected is, you should, if you can remember the pastimes of the Supreme Lord in your mind, meditating on the pastime, meditating on the form, meditating on the qualities of the Lord, like it is mentioned here. Adina. Adina means very, very magnanimous, very generous. Oh, the Lord is so generous. You go to ask one thing, He gives 10 things. Because that is the Lord's nature. I told you, our nature is different. Somebody comes and asks us something, then we'll think, oh my God, how can I give? This, why should I give? How can I give? Why I should give? Let me give a little or something. Our mind is always very greedily possessive. We don't like to part with anything. We don't like to give anybody anything. So that is the opposite of how the Lord is. But like I said, the devotees are different. Devotees have a different mentality, completely different mentality, and the mentality of a devotee develops because he is meditating on Krishna's pastime. Also, that is one type, meditation. The devotees also perform the other types of bhakti, which is seva also, sadhana and seva. Not just meditation. The devotees are also performing sadhana, devotees are also performing, some seva for the Lord. Which means they are using their body, mind, intelligence, resources, time, energy, whatever Krishna has given, also in the service of the Lord. Now imagine, here it is said, even if you meditate on the Lord will be magnanimous. Magnanimous means very generous. Now in addition to meditating on the Lord, imagine you're also doing sadhana, you're also doing some practical service, you're preaching, you're engaged completely in the service. How much more the Lord will be pleased with you. how much more the Lord will be pleased with you. Because not only the mind which is used for meditation, you're using your body, your hands, your legs, your intelligence, your every skill that Krishna has given you, and you're investing it back. You're giving it back to Krishna and you're serving Krishna. So obviously Krishna will be very, very happy, very, very pleased with such souls who are actively engaged in devotional service. So there is a special relationship between those souls which are actively engaged in devotional service and Krishna. And Krishna. Sometimes Krishna is accused, oh, you're very partial. You are very favorable to devotees. You are very partial. You neglect the non-devotees. Krishna says, I'm not like that. I'm neutral. I'm not partial. But in whatever mood they approach me, in the same mood I reciprocate. Whoever. In what mood they come to me, in the same mood I reciprocate. That means if you come to me as a servant, then I take care of him as a very loving, affectionate master. If they come to me as a friend, then I show my friendliness, my desire to be friends. I mean, I'll behave as if I'm equal to them. Like Krishna was, like Lord Rama was with Sugriva. They were friends. And then Krishna also had friends. Krishna had Arjuna as his friend. So that is a friendship, the Leela of, that's the pastime of friendship. So, this is some cramps. Some cramps in the leg. Okay, so Krishna shows, no, that's okay, it will settle down normally. I changed my position, then it settles down. Just a minute, kindly excuse me. So when we become friends with Krishna, then Krishna shows his friendship. Like Lord Rama showed with Sugriva. Lord Rama actually considered Vibhishana also as his friend. Krishna was friendly with Arjuna and rest of the Pandavas, specifically with Arjuna. So basically, imagine if you just meditate on Krishna also, there's so much benefit because the Lord is magnanimous, very generous. Now, in addition to meditating, you're also doing service. You're chanting Hare Krishna. You're going, attending the Sunday program. You're organizing festivals. You're preaching. And imagine how much more Krishna will be happy with you. So that should be our mood. We should never be satisfied with what we do for Krishna. We should think there's so much more I can do. So much more I can do. So much more I should be doing for Krishna. We should be in a prayerful mood. We should say, my Lord, this much service I'm doing, is it possible that you will bless me so that I do more service tomorrow and more than that the next day, like that. This is the mood of a devotee. Now, devotee wants to develop this mood because Krishna is the most perfect master. Krishna, there cannot be a more perfect master than Krishna. Krishna wins the heart of a devotee by his magnanimity, by his generousness, by his love. He wins the heart. So much he wins the heart of a devotee that devotee wants to do more and more and more for Krishna. He wants to do much more. He is never satisfied. He never stops. So that is why we see in ISKCON some great acharyas are there. They are 75, they are 80 years. Practically till the last breath of their life, they are engaged in service of Krishna. Till the last breath of their life, they are engaged. Prabhupada was the most perfect example. Lying on his bed in October, November 1977, when he had no strength even to move his hands on his own, Prabhupada was dictating the purports of the Srimad Bhagavatam. See, the thing is, when we cross one level, then we'll become addicted to Krishna. Like Prabhu, Srila Prabhupada, like the other acharyas of ISKCON, they become addicted. They can't stay even a moment without doing Krishna's service, without being engaged in Krishna's service. I've seen His Holiness Japataka Maharaj sometimes that in his residence, in his office or residence, he simultaneously is managing to have 2-3 meetings. He's talking to somebody here, there's somebody waiting in the next room, there's somebody waiting in the Zoom. So he speaks, then does a little bit of Zoom, then like this, simultaneously 3-4 people. I've seen so many leaders like this who are completely absorbed in serving because they cross that stage and they become addicted to serving Krishna. They can't think of. In fact, I remember one time there was a talk show in Calcutta. There was a youth program that we had organized long back, many years back. That time His Holiness Japataka Maharaj was healthy. He didn't have the stroke. His stroke he had in 2008. So this was prior to 2008, maybe 2006 or 7. I used to take care of the Calcutta. So we had organized a talk show for the youth, a big program. So I think several hundred youth came. So talk show was, we were supposed to ask questions and His Holiness Japataka Maharaj will answer. It was more like a television talk show type. You know, a couple of us are standing on one end of the stage with mic. He's standing on the other end. And we are asking, he's replying, like that. And the students are sending slips of paper saying, why did you ask this question? So we also had prepared a stack of questions that we will ask. So one of the questions that we had asked was, Maharaj, if let us say Krishna comes to you and grants you and says, okay, you have done, you're a special person, I'll give you a chance, you can be reborn again in this world. Second chance. Wherever you are born, whichever year you are born again in the same family. Now, would you have done anything differently? You understand what I'm saying? Suppose you were reborn, would you have done something differently, something else? And Guru Maharaj said, no, why I will? I'm one of the happiest person in the world, having found anybody who's found the shelter of Srila Prabhupada and through Srila Prabhupada, Krishna shelter, he is the happiest person. Why will I do something else? I would have done the same thing. And then Guru Maharaj said, even what to speak of one life, even if I had got millions of life, all those million lives I would have dedicated to the service of Prabhupada. And then he said, maybe I would have joined a little earlier also. He joined when he was 18. He said, maybe I would have joined a little earlier also. But this is the thing. And people were they were whistling and clapping and like that. Young boys, young students who came. So this is the state of mind of a devotee who has experienced some little sweet reciprocation from Krishna. So one time when Krishna used to visit the Pandavas, he would say, oh, I have to go and my family is in Dwarka, I have to go and meet them, like that. And then it is said that he was so hesitant to go to Yudhishthira and take permission from Yudhishthira when he is visiting Pandavas in Indraprastha, when Yudhishthira was the king of Indraprastha. So he would negotiate with Arjuna. He would request Arjuna, will you go and tell Yudhishthira, somehow get some permission for me so I can go visit my home. I'll come back. I have 16,100 wives there. I have children, I have grandchildren, I have a king. I'm just sitting here. Once in a while, at least you should allow me to go and put an attendance in the register or something. But Arjuna would say, I cannot ask Yudhishthira, because Yudhishthira will be so upset if he hears that you want to leave and go. Because first thing he'll come and catch Krishna and say, why my lord, why you want to go? Actually, Yudhishthira was elder to Krishna. So Krishna was hesitant. He was giving so much respect to Yudhishthira. He said, I cannot ask on my own, you have to help me. Yudhishthira would come and immediately ask Krishna, why? Have we not been taking care of you well? Have you not been treated well? Is there something missing, lacking? You want to go? And Krishna does not know how to answer. So Krishna doesn't have the whatever to say, I want to go. It's not that I'm not happy here, but I have to go. So he would always ask Arjuna to help, to get permission so that he could go. So finally they would go and Arjuna would tell Yudhishthira, you see, like this, Krishna has to go, he has a family there. And Yudhishthira would say at times, he would say, I can never give permission for Krishna to go. How can I say you go? I cannot say that. It is not possible for me to tell Krishna you can go. I can only tell him you come back quickly or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes when you go to in the elders in the family, I don't know, some custom is there. You can't go to the elders and say, Vellastanu, when you're going out, something. Some Telugu people, they have that custom. I guess even Kannada people have. So there are certain things you cannot say when you're leaving. So like that, Arjuna, Krishna, Yudhishthira would say, I can't tell you to go. That would not be correct. We want you here. We want you to stay eternally. We want to serve you. Be happy. In fact, I have nominated Draupadi to take care. She's the host. Everything. And Draupadi used to follow Krishna like a shadow. Wherever he went, she would stand outside his door waiting. Imagine, she's the Patarani, she's the queen mother of the entire Indraprastha kingdom. But she would stand outside Krishna's door waiting. If when Krishna comes out, she would ask, my lord, is there something I can do for you? You've just taken rest and come out. Are you hungry? You feel like eating something, drinking something? Like that she would be. So Yudhishthira would say, Draupadi is the world's best hostess. Now, is there something lacking or missing? Then Krishna would say, no, I actually I love all of you. I relish your association and everything. But I also have my family. I have to visit them once in a while, like that. So when you come to a particular stage in bhakti, you become so attached to Krishna, attached to Vaishnavas, attached to Guru's instructions, specifically attached to Krishna and association of Vaishnavas. So then your whole consciousness is very different. That's why people, they get puzzled when they see ISKCON devotees. It begins with chanting one round. We very innocently will say, no, just one round you chant, doesn't matter. You can worship devatas, you can do whatever you like at home. We're not asking you to change anything. Just keep one picture of Krishna and one picture of Prabhupada. Chant one round, that's all we were asking. But they don't know what they've allowed, It's like the Arab and the camel story. Do you know that story? Arab and the camel story? You don't know? Okay, the Arab and the camel story, it's famous. It's probably there in some textbooks also. The Arab and the camel story is like this. There's an Arab who is sleeping in his tent. In the desert, in the night. And nights are pretty cold. Days are hot, nights are cold. So there's a camel nearby. The camel will say, can I also come into the tent? The Arab will say no. He's been sufficiently warned before that you should be careful with this camel. He'll say, no, this tent is for me, you hang around outside. Then after some time the camel will knock the door and say, like that, something else you will ask, can I, like that. And finally the camel will say, see, the tip of my nose is very cold. It becomes very cold. Sometimes when we go out in the cold, our ears become cold. We like to cover our ears, right? So the camel said, my most sensitive part in my body is the tip of my nose. So can I just at least put the tip of my nose into the tent? The Arab will think, what is there? Tip of the nose only now. This camel is disturbing my sleep too often. All right, tip of the nose. You keep the tip of the nose inside the tent and don't disturb me again. After some time, the Arab is woken up again, and then the camel says, I'm very grateful to you that you allowed me to put the tip of the nose. So now it's not the tip of the nose that's bothering me, that my ears are bothering me. Now they've become the coldest part of my body. See, I honestly, I don't mean to disturb you and wake you up every now and then. Just allow me to keep my face inside. So the Arab by then, so he will think, how can I be so cruel to this camel? All right, you keep the face inside and that's all, okay, nothing more. So the camel's face comes inside. And it is said that by the next morning, the camel is sleeping inside the tent and the Arab has been kicked out of the tent. I'm not saying Krishna will kick you out of some tent. But that's how Krishna enters our life also. He said, just one round you chant. Devotees are so clever. They never give up. They say, just one mala, only 7.5 minutes. Chant, so good for you. Actually, it's all true. It's good for you, good for your family, good for your children, good for your grandchildren, good for your parents, grandparents. 7 generations up, 7 generations down will get the benefit. So they will say, just one round. But you don't know what you're taking in. I mean, you have really no clue what you're taking in, whom you're inviting into your family, into your life, into your heart, into your mind. Whom you're inviting. This person, when he once enters, he will not wait until he captures your heart fully and completely. That is Krishna. Fully and completely he will capture your heart. But he begins very small, like this. Or devotees will say, it doesn't matter, you don't even have to chant. Just come to the temple once in a while. It doesn't matter, you come exactly at the time of Prashadam. When we start chanting Mahaprashade Govinda, you come. Even that is fine with us. And then you take Prashadam and you go. That's all. We don't want anything, nothing else. So somehow or other devotees trap, like the tip of the nose of the camel, So the devotees will somehow or other trick and somehow get Krishna into your life. But like I said, once Krishna enters, he is difficult to get rid of. Very difficult. You can go to the, you sometimes you let in a tenant in your house and he's a very problematic tenant. Then you go to the court, you can file a case, hire a lawyer, and then you can get a judgment, and then you can get rid of the tenant. Sometimes it happens in Kali Yuga. But Krishna is, what can I say? He knows how to trick the owner. He knows how to fool the lawyer. He knows how to convince the judge, but he'll never get out. You try, Krishna won't get out of our houses once he enters our heart. But then, Prabhupada said, this madness that you're having for Krishna, that's a very welcome type of madness. I also want that. Prabhupada says that feeling that I want to serve Krishna is so sweet, so very sweet. So it's like the classic Arab and the camel story. So Krishna once enters, begins with chanting or hearing or meditating or accidentally doing some devotional service or taking prasadam or appreciating the Vaishnavas. Somehow or other our spiritual life has to begin. And then it's, like they say, it's a point of no return. Once it begins, it doesn't end. Like I said, until Krishna captures your heart. So here it is said, the Lord is magnanimous. The Lord, we have to meditate upon Him. The Lord is very benevolent. Benevolent means once He enters your life, the Lord is very anxious to see that you don't get rid of Him easily. Don't get rid. So He is granting boons and wishes. Akama sarva kamova moksha kama udhari dihi. Tivrena bhakti yogena yadate purusham padam. So the Lord understands different situations, and somehow or other, like He manipulated the whole course of the Kurukshetra war. Not just Kurukshetra war. The Lord's hand is there in every event, in the important event in Mahabharata. Every important event in Mahabharata, Krishna's hand is there. The Pandavas are so confused because, they go to this Swayamvara, Draupadi Swayamvara, and Arjuna wins her. And they bring her back home. At that time they were not exactly in Vanavas, but they were escaping from the Kauravas and living in the shelter of some Brahmana or some other person in the outskirts of some village, because they didn't want Duryodhana and others to come to know that Pandavas are still alive. So Arjuna brings, the Pandavas bring Draupadi back home, and Kunti is still working in the kitchen. So Arjuna declares that, Mother, today is a special day. We got a rare jewel. We got something rare, something special, something unique. Kunti doesn't even lift her head and look. She says, yeah, very good, very nice. So go ahead, all 5 of you share like you always do. Kunti says that, and then she turns around to see what is that special jewel, and she'll see Draupadi. So there's a whole dilemma. What should we do? How can one woman marry 5 people, etc.? That would be improper. that would be unchaste, it would be wrong, like that. But it so happens that when they're debating all this and they're very confused and they don't know what to do, very mystically Krishna and Balaram appear there. Vyasadeva comes there. Because see, you must understand that Pandavas are special people, they're born of the Devatas. They appeared to assist Lord Krishna in his Leela. So Krishna Balaram come there, Vyas comes there, and everybody is confused that what should we do? And Kunti is thinking, so far in my life I've never uttered a lie. Never has my word become a lie, untruth. Now I said this, how did I say this without checking? I should have been more careful. I should have been more thoughtful. I should have verified. I should have found out. So Kunti is also confused. But when I was reading that portion of the Mahabharata, what struck me is that what kind of a culture they had during the Mahabharata time. Kunti says, I never uttered a lie from my mouth. Not even once. Nothing that I've ever said has turned out to be false or a lie. That's the kind of faith they have in Krishna. They will utter the truth because they know that, whatever it is Krishna's, whatever it is, let it happen as per Krishna's plan, but I will not do anything which is adharmic. I was so, wonderstruck at Kunti's statement that not one time have I ever said anything which is untruthful, half-truth, improper, or against Vedic culture or dharma. How did this word come out of my mouth? Like that. Then Krishna and Balaram come, Vyasadeva, and they explain to Yudhishthira saying that Draupadi is not some ordinary woman. And that is also very interesting. How did Draupadi end up having 5 husbands? So they explain that story. They take Kunti to one side and Vyasadeva explains, no, he doesn't take Kunti, that's a little later on. He explains to Drupada. But that's the story. It appears Draupadi in a previous life was also a young beautiful lady, very young princess, very young beautiful princess, and she used to worship Lord Shiva. And apparently she worshipped Lord Shiva, and when Lord Shiva appeared, she said that I've done this tapasya to get the most qualified person as my husband. And she said that I want a husband who is the most handsome person. I want a husband who is most wise and just and fair and truthful and honest, like that. I want the most strongest person as my husband. And I want the most skillful kshatriya, fighter, like that. Then Lord Shiva says, you see, you can't get all these 5 qualities in one person. And you've asked me 5 times. So get ready, you may have to marry 5 people to satisfy your prayer. So this previous life's pastime of Draupadi is explained. Then Kunti is also pacified, Yudhishthira is pacified, Drupada is pacified. Everybody is happy and the marriage happens. So what I want to say is practically in every event of the Mahabharata, not just in the Kurukshetra war, you can see Krishna's hand directly or indirectly. Krishna's hand is there. So same way in our life also, when we start meditating on Krishna, chanting Krishna's name, serving Krishna under the authority of whatever, Guru, Krishna, whatever, some authority. So you can actually see Krishna acting, Mahaprabhu acting through our lives, through our... So that is when a devotee becomes completely addicted to serving Krishna. He says, when he gets this realization that he, by purity, by sincerity, by dedication and by unconditional surrender, he can become an instrument in Krishna's hand, he likes that. He likes that. He'll say there's nothing sweeter than becoming an instrument in Krishna's hand. So it changes the entire mindset of a devotee. Completely changes the mindset. Devotee becomes completely focused. It said meditate, concentrate on, and Krishna also likes to work with such people. Krishna also likes to empower such people and use them as instruments. It works both ways. I like becoming an instrument, Krishna likes engaging me. You know how it is. Shri Shri Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Sarva Vigna Vinashaka Bhaktavatsi Narsinghadev Bhagavan ki jai. So it works both ways. Krishna likes engaging us. It is the perfection of our life to be engaged by Krishna in His service. It is the perfection of our life to be engaged in Krishna's service. By Krishna, by becoming an instrument in the hands of Krishna. So that is the perfection, and Bhagavatam is pushing us to achieve that type of perfection. That ultimate form of perfection where we have nothing else in our life except Krishna, except wanting to serve Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Thank you very much. Any questions, comments? Yeah, sure.